G'day everybody. It is time for some midweek motivation, some impartation, some information, some Wednesday wisdom, some knowledge, revelation and wisdom that I hope will bring a greater experience for you in your life, in the way that you perceive things around you, the way that you interact with people, and the way that you understand your place in this world. Today I want to talk to you briefly about a topic on love. Love has many different aspects. There's in other languages, there's different depths of love described using different words. But in the English language, like a lot of things, we have one word. It's called love. Deep love for my wife, for your spouse, your best friend, your parents is definitely different, or should be different, to the love that you have for ice cream or chocolate or even the sporting team that you follow. But there's one thing that as a Christian, that the command to love is not an option. Okay, we're to love ourselves, but we're also to love others. Now, in the Bible, it doesn't give us this as an option, but it tells us that we are to love all people. Those who are easy to love, those people who might share similar values or interests to us. Those people in the second group are those that are hard to love. They might be different virtues or different religious beliefs or even different life choices than us. They may even have a different moral compass to what you have or to what I have, but we're still expected and commanded to love them. And this third group is a challenging one. It's that we are to love all of those people, even extending that love to those who have caused us hurt or harm. It may be someone who's betrayed us, or we may have been in an abusive relationship where the outworking of the demonstration of love towards us had devastating consequences. Regardless of the interaction we've had with other people, we're still to love them. Now, I want to just give you 4 points here today on what I believe, based on the Bible, are the significant points about love. Number one, God is love. Now, in the Bible, there's a book called 1 John chapter 4. We're told that we are to love one another, for love is of God. Everyone that is of love is born of God and knows God. God's love is perfected in us. When we love one another, it's an outward sign to other people that he dwells within us. Point number 2 for today. Love is the motive behind creation. God created mankind, womankind, all of humanity for himself. In the Old Testament, in the book of Exodus, it states this: "For I, the Lord, thy God, am a jealous God." Now, the solution provided by God to allow us to return to love with him, into a relationship with him, was actually designed before creation itself. We read in Revelation, it says that for Jesus himself was the lamb slain before the foundation of the world. God, when he created us, gave us free will. Free will to do whatever we chose to do. Free will to love ourselves, to love others. Free will to love him. But this free will never stalled God's love towards us. It never stalled or inhibited his love towards you, whatever the extent of your relationship is with the God that I'm speaking of. God pursued us. And we read in another book called Romans chapter 5, where it says that while we were still separated from God, not in a relationship with him, he still sent Jesus to die, to bridge that gap, to bring us back in a loving relationship with him. Number 1, God is love. Number 2, love is the motivation behind creation. And number 3, love is the fulfillment of the law. Now, the Old Testament is a book that has a lot of law and a lot of instruction for the people of the time on how they were to live to get back in relationship with God. But as the Bible progresses in the story, we read more about Jesus and how he was that fulfillment of the law. Now, in Matthew chapter 22, it tells us that we are to love the Lord our God. How? with all of our heart, with all of our soul, and with all of our mind. Now, the law that was written on 2 tablets back in Exodus chapter 20 can be understood in this way. The 10 commandments, the first 4 relate to our love for God and for God alone. The last 6 of these 10 commandments relate to our relationship with other people, the way we relate to others. And the 4th point I want to bring to you very briefly today about the significance of love is that it is a sign of our discipleship. We'll have different faith systems and beliefs that are based on something. Sound doctrine and strong faith, however, on their own are not a demonstration to the world that we are a disciple. They are not a demonstration of a Christian who loves God to the world. This love of God, which is an agape love, it's a really deep, deep love that you would give up absolutely everything to have and to be part of. When that is demonstrated in our lives, or in other words, when it is manifest in our lives, developed and works out in our relationships with other people, that is then a sign of our discipleship and that we are people who follow Jesus. The Apostle Paul also teaches us that we are to pursue love and to strive for spiritual gifts, and that all that we do would be done in love. So those 4 points for you briefly again. The significance of love, why we should love those that are easy to love, why we should love those that are hard to love, and why we need to remember to extend love towards, not an interaction necessarily, but a love towards those who have caused us hurt or harm. The significance. Number 1, God is love. Number 2, love is the motivation behind creation. Point 3, love is the fulfillment of the law. And number 4, love is a sign of discipleship. It is a sign of who our devotion is towards. If you're a Christian and you're hearing these words, I hope this reminds you of some of the foundational teaching that you should have had in your journey, or if it's a new journey, that these will bring you some inspiration to get started. If you're not a Christian, if you don't believe God as a God of love of the way I've spoken of today, then hit me up, simonjsmith.org. Send me a message. We'll get in touch and I can explain a bit more about this to you. In the meantime, I hope that you are motivated today to love those people, regardless of what you think about God and about this message today. If the only thing you get out of our interaction today is that you desire to love all other people, treat all other people with respect, then that's been a blessing for me. Have an absolutely awesome week, and I look forward to sharing another message with you next week.